guys, I'm Charlie Book Fanatic. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about my February TBR. On my February TBR, I have less books than normal because I'm going to be starting college again in February and I don't know how much time I will have to spend on reading. So let's get into the books I do have on this TBR. The challenge I have for February from the All About You challenge is to read 3 or 4 books with a cover that is in the colour of my birthstone. Okay, I have to talk to you about this. I honestly always thought my birthstone was an amethyst. Turns out it isn't. Amethyst is February's birthstone. I am born in March, so my birthstone is actually Aquamarine, which is so weird, but I love the colour, so it's fine. I have some books on my TBR in that colour, but still. Thinking your birthstone was purple all along and then it turns out to be Aquamarine. I'm also going to be participating in the Emoji-a-thon, which is a readathon that takes place during the month of February. I'm going to be reading 4 books for 4 of the 15 challenges, and I'm going to be reading a book a week for this readathon. So I will be going into that as well, and I'm going to be reading some books for the Diversity Bingo 2017 challenge. The first book I'm going to be talking about is Freakboy by Kristin Elizabeth Clarke. I managed to fit this into my Diversity Bingo for the Romance with a Trans MC challenge. I also managed to fit this into a Aquamarine cover challenge. This book is about a guy called Brendan who seems to have it all. He's a star wrestler, he loves video games, and he has a loving girlfriend called Vanessa. On the inside, Brendan struggles with not feeling like himself. He'd rather have long, curly hair and actually be a girl, and he starts to think that something is wrong with him. I had this on my TBR previously, but I eventually deleted it. I don't know why. And then I suddenly thought of this one again when I was reading the challenge for Romance with a Trans MC, and I was like, meh, I'm still interested in this. I have only read 1 book with a trans MC, and I wasn't really into that one, so maybe this one will be better. I've heard a lot of good things. It has good ratings on Goodreads, so I'm excited to try it. The second book I'm going to be reading is actually for my quarterly challenge, which is a challenge that has 10 under challenges in it, and it takes place during 3 months, a quarter of a year. So this ends on February 28th, and I was thinking I only need to read 1 more book, so I'm going to be reading Queen of Shadows, the 4th book in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. I'm not a huge fan of the Throne of Glass series, but I feel like I have to catch up with this series because so many people have been loving it and I don't want to miss anything. So I am going to torture myself and read the 4th book. The second book I'm going to be reading for the Emoji-a-thon, as well as for the cover with the colour of Aquamarine in it, is The Law of Moses, which is the first book in the series of the same name by Amy Harmon. This is an NA contemporary romance. The story is about Moses who was found in a laundry basket at a laundromat, and synopsis told from the first person. So I imagine that the character this book is going to be from is going to fall in love with this adult, grown-up Moses. But Moses is messed up because he was born to a crack addict's mother, and he's generally someone that the main character should stay away from, but she can't. So this is basically the all male love interest has tragic backstory, kind of new adult story, but the synopsis sounds super interesting. I would really encourage you to check the synopsis out because it doesn't sound like any other new adult story I've ever heard about. The cover of this really interested me. It is so pretty, and I just thought, why not give it a chance, you know? It's only 333 pages, so it's average length. Might as well give it a try. I normally enjoy new adult books, so maybe I will love this one. Then I'm going to be reading Invisible Planets, contemporary Chinese sci-fi in translation. This has been edited by Ken Liu. It has stories by Chinese authors in it. It's basically an anthology of short stories by Chinese authors, and I use this for my Diversity Bingo for book by an author of colour, as well as for the Emoji-a-thon. Second to last book on this TBR is The Bitter Kingdom, the 3rd book in the Fire and Thorns trilogy by Ray Carson. I loved The Crown of Embers, which was the 2nd book. I liked the 1st book, Girl, Fire and Thorns, wasn't that into it, but the 2nd book stole my heart. So I can't wait to finish this trilogy finally, and I can just say I finished this whole series this year already, and I'm very excited for it. This story is about Elisa, who has a godstone in her navel, so she is very important because of this godstone. and she gets married off to a much older king that she doesn't really know, and she eventually ends up in a rebellion that she gets to be the leader of. This also counts for the Aquamarine challenge, by the way. A last book I'm going to be reading is for the Sci-fi challenge I'm doing on a Goodreads group. I can read basically any book for the Sci-fi challenge. It doesn't have to be sci-fi, you know. I'm going to be reading The Winner's Crime, the second book in the Winners trilogy by Rutkoski. This trilogy is about a girl who's the daughter of a general and falls in love with a slave she has bought. It's interesting. I thought the first book was interesting, quite predictable, but we'll see where this trilogy goes. I was intrigued enough by the first book to want to continue on with this. And then lastly, I'm going to pick a challenge for my TBR jar. Let's see what I'm going to be reading lastly during this month. Oh my god, literally everything is falling out. Got one. Let's see. A book based on a true story. Oh, I know. After reading This Is Where It Ends by Marieke Nijkamp, which was about a school shooting, somebody recommended to me on Goodreads a book called Columbine, which is non-fiction written about the school shooting at Columbine High School. Based on a true story, guess it doesn't really count, but I don't really have anything on my TBR, like a fiction story based on a true story. So I guess this is based on a true story, can also be non-fiction. I don't know, I'm going to rate this for this challenge anyway. I count it as based on a true story. So these are all the books on my TBR. Maybe I'll read all of them, maybe I don't, maybe I'll read more. We'll see. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books and what you thought about them, or if you want to read any of these books, or if you have any recommendations for me. I would love to know. Thanks for watching. Goodbye!